Hey guys, how's it going? It's good to see you. Today we're going to be throwing a really cool disc. It's the Fission Time Lapse. Now I've been waiting for these Fission Time Lapse a long time. Basically since the Neutrons came out, I was immediately excited for the idea of a Fission one. I love lightweight drivers. Whenever I'm throwing max distance, I'm pretty much always reaching for a disc that's in that 160 to 165 gram category. This specific Fission Time Lapse is 162, really excited to test it out, but there's already two lightweight drivers in my bag that this is gonna have to beat out if it's gonna make it in the roster. The first one is the EchoStar Destroyer. This is 165 grams. The EchoStar Destroyers tend to start out a little bit more understable than their Star counterparts, and being 165 grams adds even more understability. This is what I've been using for a long time, so it's pretty beat in, gets a lot of turn. But we also have the iBlend Emperor. This is 164 grams. iBlend is a great plastic, really easy to beat in, great for distance drivers. This one's pretty fresh though, not very beat in, because I lost the one I had been using just a couple weeks ago. So just got this one to do this video with. So we're gonna be testing the time lapse against the Destroyer and the Emperor and see which one's gonna make my bag. All right guys, we're in the field throwing the time lapse. We're gonna start out here with just like some flat, straight type of throws. And for reference, like a good rip for me is like 380 feet. I'm not like a huge distance bomber necessarily, but I can push this out to around 400 feet, like, you know, if I get a hold of it pretty well, just as a frame of reference. And you can see that time lapse gets a really nice amount of turn when thrown flat right out of the box. It's really cool how this thing's brand new, only threw it a couple times before this, a nice amount of turn. You can see the EchoStar Destroyer pretty much has the same amount of turn, which is the ideal amount for my type of throw. But you gotta keep in mind, that Destroyer, I've been beating in for like 8 months. I've been throwing it a lot for these distance style shots in that time span. So it took a while to beat into that level of understability. Whereas the Emperor there, that's fresher. You know, I used to use the Emperor a lot that I had beat in, but this one's newer. It doesn't have that same amount of turn, kind of pulled it to the right. This is on a flex line, and because the time lapse, this Fission one, has so much turn, it holds the anhyzer angle. Kind of have to get some air under it to really, you know, get the full flight, but just loving the understability. The Destroyer goes a little bit farther, but really that's more about throwing inconsistency rather than the actual disc going further. They're very, very comparable distance-wise. And here's the Emperor, which again, you know, pretty much in the same ballpark distance-wise. So all three of these are fantastic distance drivers, but what really impresses me about the time lapse specifically is just out of the box understability. That really, really shocked me. We're now gonna throw it on the course here. But before that, if you want a time lapse or any other MVP disc, go check out this video's sponsor, Grow and Throw. Grow and Throw is a retailer here in Columbia, Missouri. They're awesome. They got a really nice selection. You can find them online at growandthrow.shop. Anyways, let's hit the course. So first hole here, not very long, but you need a big hyzer to get all the way to the left to the basket. We want something that's a little bit understable. It's gonna flip up and kind of carry to the left. So I think the time lapse is gonna be really good here. Let's test it out. All right, pin high, edge of circle, let's do it. Oh boy. That ain't it. So now we're coming out to the distance driver hole out here. This is one of the only holes I actually use a distance driver on regularly. 492 feet, par 3, wide open. Let's do it. Just look at the turn on that guy. I didn't really get a good rip on it. Kind of a little bit of early release, but you can just see it turns like a whole flight. It's really impressive. Not my best toss, but we still got up here pretty well. I'm going to approach with the Pixel. Down. Oh boy. All right guys, long par 4. You gotta start this guy on hyzer, get the flip up a bit and carry to the left. Mando is this baseball field light here. We just kind of want distance. And I feel like the time lapse is great on these hyzer angles because of how much flip it has. This is really the best disc for this hole, I feel like right now. Oh shoot. I didn't put that on enough hyzer. I mean, that just, dude, that disc goes so far. That flipped up so much. Wow. Guys, this is a very exciting moment. Certified nature moment. Turtle in the fairway. This dude looks freaking beefy. I mean, I'm not gonna throw him or anything, but I think he'd be pretty overstable. I'm still in absolute disbelief over that throw. That flipped up so much and went super far. The glide on this thing is absolutely insane. Gonna do an approach with my Electron Envy. It's not gonna go far enough. Kept it short. Oh, get in. Oh, frick. So close to the birdie. Hey, there we go. All right, guys, a newer hole out here at Oakland back. Par 4, 530 feet. Got to make it through a tight gap, go up a hill, kind of tucked in the back. Great hole for the time lapse. Oh, yeah. A little too low. Didn't really give it the oomph I needed to. I was more concerned about hitting this gap, so mission accomplished. All right, so the basket is past this big tree into the woods a bit. It's a little short to be throwing the time lapse again, but we're gonna do it anyways because this is a video about the time lapse. Yeah, fade in there. Well, guys, there it is in the tree, right where I wanted it. Oh, and we cash in the putt, baby. So to answer the question, is the time lapse making my bag over the Destroyer and the Emperor? The answer is probably yes. The Destroyer did go a little bit further in our field testing, but it was a negligible amount. And just the fact that I can buy these time lapses today, I can just go out and buy a bunch at different weights, like 155, 160, 165, 170, and know I'm gonna get a nice understable max distance flight, but also have slightly differences in the flight based on the different weights. That's just super valuable. The Destroyer has a lot of great things going for it. I mean, it's the most popular distance driver of all time. It's been made in a million different plastics. I can go to my local store and find 10 different plastics of Destroyers, which is awesome because there's a huge variety. It can also make it tough though, because you actually have to like parse through and find the right one, and there's some trial and error involved with that. And because there's so many different runs, two people could buy a Star Destroyer and they could have very different flights. Because one could have been made, 2 years ago, while one could have been made 2 weeks ago. I'm not someone who leans on distance drivers a lot though. This is more of a disc that I'm only going to be throwing in a wide open field. Whenever I need to hit any sort of specific line, I'm almost always reaching for a fairway driver. But if you're someone who really likes to lean on those wider rim discs, maybe you just love how the wide rim feels in your hands, maybe you got monster hands unlike me, then I think this could be just an all-around great go-to disc, especially if you get it maybe more of that 170 gram type category. You can rely on it a lot of different conditions, throw it in the wind more. But this 162 gram, I'm absolutely in love with. I'm so glad I got this one. I'll probably be picking some more up soon. So if you want to pick one up too, check out Grow and Throw, this video's sponsor. I really appreciate you guys watching till the end. It means so much to me. Go like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I'll see you next time.